Hey everyone, my name is Danilo Petrovic.
I'm Ilya Marchenko.
I'm Denis Kudla.
I'm Evgeny Donskoy.
I'm Henry Laaksonen.
I'm Peter Torebko, and you are listening to the Game to Love podcast.
Welcome to the GTL Awards 2020. Hey, welcome guys. We're here for the first official Game to Love Awards. JG, are you hyped for this one?
Mate, should be good. I can't wait. I know we've been a bit late to do one, but better late than never. That's what I say.
Literally. I've seen every other channel's been putting out their awards shows left, right, and center. Even the official ones have been coming out. But you know what they say. We save the best till last. And couldn't be better for our first award show, could it? And as you can see, we got all of the nice setup here today. Been working very hard for you guys.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, this is going to be a really good show, I think. We've got a lot of players to discuss. We've got a few different categories. And some really worthy winners, to be fair. It's been, overall, I know we did a good overview of the whole year 2020 with Gil Gross on the last podcast we did. And going through it, it wasn't actually a bad year in terms of like some of the tennis was actually pretty good. We saw some good stuff. We saw a lot of young players coming through, some new winners on both the WTA and ATP side. It's just been plagued with obviously all the stoppages and all the coronavirus stuff. So hopefully next year we can have a more normal tour. Yeah. But on the whole, I think we made the best of a bad situation this year, and there was some really cool, good results.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I just want to say we haven't done a live podcast for a while. Apologies to you guys, but we have been building up because don't forget, this is also podcast number 100. And thank you, everybody, for joining us there in the chat. I mean, go through some of the regulars there. We got Thomas Rock is in. We got the Lamb. He's in as well. Mary Sky, 12 Travel 21. Avi Weiss as
Mary's
well.
Missing tennis. So do I, to be fair, Mary.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I was expecting tuxedos. Yeah. If we'd have had time, literally, we've been pushing it to the wire, this one, with the preparation for it. So really hope you guys enjoy this show. Been working around the clock. I was up until about 4 a.m. last night working on this episode. So I'm hoping that you appreciate it. So
and if anything, Ben, I think we should enjoy it as well. Let's sit back, enjoy the awards ceremony. We give our opinion on everything, and it's actually going to be a really good one. So we've got a lot of new buttons. Obviously, we had a cool intro. Ben's prepared. You already seen that. I know Thomas saying you liked it. We've got plenty of cool things in store as well.
Yeah, and I've got so many buttons. I'm not going to even know which ones I'm pressing throughout this, probably, but. We've got 5 categories that we're going to be going through today for our award ceremony, which is going to be starting off with most improved player. Then we're going to be going up with the best newcomer of the year. Then we've got most disappointing player in our eyes, obviously. And then we've got young player of the year, and then the big one. GTL Player of the Year, which everyone around the globe.
Everyone wants to win that one, don't they?
Exactly. It's exciting. It's very, very exciting.
Yeah, before we actually get onto the awards, Ben, what I wanted to say is it's the 100th podcast. What a journey it's been. We started off in the office, just doing the odd one here and there.
Yeah.
Wasn't really getting too much traction with a lot of them, but we were just enjoying it. We thought it was so much fun. We've got still some fans, to be fair, who were there with us right at the beginning. Our tennis knowledge has probably improved a lot more in terms of just talking about it. We've always known tennis for many years, but just watching it more regularly and having to talk about it like openly on a forum like this, on a YouTube channel, has allowed us to sort of only better our knowledge. We've been over the opportunity to speak to so many players along the way on them 100 podcasts.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's not even counting all the watch-alongs. Then we did all these different watch-alongs as well. That's another series altogether.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just sort of grown, hasn't it? It's just been quite a journey, really. And you consider at the beginning, we just were doing it without any mics, and we were just sitting there, just trialing it on a pilot, just talking about Ashley Barty at the beginning of the year and the Australian Open. So, yeah, it's pretty crazy how far it's come. And now look at us. We've got our own awards ceremony at the end of the year. It's just what a better way to finish the year, and having all of the people that have sort of helped us along the way. And with those, like you're saying, the watch-alongs have just made the whole channel come to life even more. And we've loved doing them so much. So, yeah, just seeing a few other people. And Mary Sky, thank you. Exactly. I finally have. It's not that I have a good light. I actually have a proper green screen, and I actually have a cable connected for my internet for my Mac rather than my other computer.
Yeah, now I'm the one what's dodgy. I've got all this dodgy. Next year I'm going to sort it out a lot more. I'm going to get a proper webcam and stuff just to improve it all. But for now, you have to put up with me like this. What I did want to say is a funny comment there, actually, Wild Live saying, can we please have an incorrect winner announced only to be awkwardly corrected a minute later? I don't think we even have to like pretend to do one. That's a good chance that's going to happen tonight.
I might press
like 60 buttons to press, so there's a good chance there could be an error in there, and we're just gonna have to just roll with it. I think it's gonna make it more realistic. How many times do you see a mistake when they're on an award ceremony? I've seen some clangers, mate, before.
Mate, so many, and well, wouldn't it be fitting if we were announcing the Player of the Year for the most disappointing one or something like that? I can see myself doing something to this effect. You've seen my I've neglected my buttons throughout live watch-alongs, but today I'm fully focused on the buttons. And it's 12 travel. Are you still in the shed?
Yeah, still in the shed. Got the heating on though today, so
that's good.
Hopefully, I won't be shaking.
And Thomas Rock saying
we're in an arms race, technology arms race. Got Ben leading for a change. Usually I'm just a little bit above him, but he's completely done me, to be honest, recently. I must admit, it's a fair play to him. Thomas Rock's, the shed with the Huskies. Yeah, the hot Huskies are inside. So hopefully no barking today.
The Huskies, mate. Oh, God. Yeah, there's no barking in the nighttime. They're all locked away. They're probably sat in front of the TV now, waiting for the GTL Awards ceremony to start, I would have thought. So should we get going with it? I mean, I know we've got 5 categories to get through. We've got the WTA and we've got the ATP. I mean, it was extra work, but I said it's worth it. We're going to do the lot. So, yeah, it's meant sleepless nights. But don't worry.
First category, Ben. What is the first category?
First category we're going to go with is WTA, first off, and this is most improved player. And these are going to be, you're going to see all of the nominees, and then we're going to go through just briefly about each of the players, really. So, hopefully this is the right one.
Ben, Ken Lee there. He's joined us. He's going to the barbers again. Ken, come on. How many times are you going to get your hair cut? You've just been to the barbers.
Come on.
Anyway,
oh dear, Carl spends his lifetime. He should open his own barbers, I think, Ken. Here we go. We're going to kick off with the most improved player. Most improved player. Jennifer Brady. Fiona Ferro. Elena Rybakina. Iga Swiatek. So there you
go.
go.
Some very good nominations there. What are you thinking, Ben?
Well, as you can see there, we had Jen Brady, Fiona Ferro, Elena Rybakina, and Iga Swiatek. So obviously, very, very, very good players and an elite listing. Obviously, we start with Jen Brady. She had a fantastic year. I don't think any of us saw her having the year that she was going to have. She obviously won in WTA Lexington. And then she continued that form on into the US Open, which was really, really great to see. She obviously got to the semi-finals against Naomi Osaka and just was pipped in 3. So
the improvement from her has been crazy. She's just looked a complete different player this year, pulled off some really spectacular results. Her overall game's improved. She's moved up the ranking quite a bit now. Do you know what ranking she is now? Do you have that there?
Yeah, sure. It popped up on the screen for you. So she's 24.
24, exactly. Yeah. So, quality player. But the one I wanted to talk about was actually Fiona Ferro. For me, I remember when we first come back from the break, it was the first tournament, wasn't it? WTA Player. And we did a podcast on it. We were so excited to cover some tennis. And she was absolutely phenomenal that day. She won the tournament, looked ridiculously comfortable. And then I've got some of her results here. So after Palermo, she didn't play much tennis after that. Well, she played, I think, straight after in the French Open. Then she didn't play anymore after that in the year. But there wasn't many. For the women's, it's different. There wasn't as many events scheduled in this year, was there, after coronavirus? The men's, there was a lot more going on. But that tournament, she was crazy. She obviously beat Podoroska. We know how well she played this year. She beat Kontaveit in the final. Phenomenally, really, comfortably in straight sets. She only dropped one set the whole tournament against Camilla Giorgi.
It was incredible.
And then in the French Open, she lost at the end of the day to Sophia Kenin, who was the eventual finalist. Who's a top player as well. She beat her the first set 6-2 as well. So for me, Fiona Ferro's had a phenomenal year. For those who don't know, she's the one who had the she has all the tennis court, doesn't she, at her house?
Yeah, she does. And so she was the one who was able to practice all the way through the break, wasn't she? So it really gave her the advantage coming back into the tennis that when it came back on the scene. She played really well. She continued the form. I think she went about 14, 15 matches unbeaten, I think, in the end. Really, really impressed with her. She was a surprise package of this year, really. But Rybakina, she cannot be left out of the conversation because she did make 5 finals this year. I mean, it's crazy. She's sort of like the female Felix.
It's disappointing to win more, but I know next year. I genuinely do believe she's going to win more next year because she's got something in her in terms of she doesn't. For me, I don't look at her as like a mentally weak player, young player on tour, extremely exciting talent, extremely good on hard courts as well. So for me, Rybakina, she's going to be one to watch next year. I think we're going to see a big 2021 from her. It's definitely a worthy contender, but I'm going to leave for me the best till last, and that's the last one. I know you can't pronounce her name. I don't think I can either, to be honest. It's called havoc on the pronunciation front, but it's Iga Swiatek and the Polish wonder kid, really.
Yeah. I mean, she's had such a fantastic year. Obviously, Swiatek culminating in her winning the French Open, which I don't think you've ever seen anybody win it in such impressive style as well. And I think that's the main reason that she's on the list.
The way she was hitting the ball, I don't remember the exact statistic, but she was hitting the ball as hard as some of the ATP players. It was crazy.
Yeah.
For such a young girl, and it's amazing, really. I think she's going to be around it for a long time in tennis. And I know we were getting very carried away saying, could she be the next player on the women's tour to dominate it? Is it opening up for her? Obviously, Andreescu's not played much this year, but Swiatek has got a claim to the throne for me. We've got Mary there. She's saying Swiatek for sore. Avi there going for Ferro. What's everyone else is thinking? Who do you think is going to win?
So good. I mean, all of these players, I mean, in that little group, I think they're such a great little 4 that we've got there. I reckon we could be seeing them in semi-finals, finals next year for sure. I don't see why not. If they play the same standard.
The only thing for me is Ferro is just clay court.
Yeah.
Ferro off the clay courts. That's why it's different for her personally. But the others, they seem to be able to mix it with more surfaces. Like Swiatek, for me, she can do it on any surface. Her game's just so solid.
Yeah. like to apologize to Alariza. Apparently, I've made a slip up when I was doing my animations. I think I've put in ATP instead of WTA rankings. Apologize for that. There was a lot of work that had to be done. I must have just a clerical error. Apologies.
When did you do that?
About when it pops up with the name, it pops up with their ranking afterwards. So I must have not changed it. Apologies if it says that on any other WTA ones.
Oh, people can look past that for sure. Come on. Give the man a rest. It doesn't really matter. We all obviously know it's the WTA.
And here we go. So we got an Avi Vice saying it is. Are you going to give it one more go, shall we?
Swiatek.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to be here all day. If we're going for the pronunciations, we're going to have to do another podcast just for pronunciations, I think. Thomas Rock saying late night, Ben, all good. So I think it comes to the big moment because we've got a lot of things to get through. So, Ben, who is the winner?
So the winner of the most improved player from the WTA Iga Swiatek. There you go.
Give a round of applause. Well done, Swiatek, and worthy winner. As Andy says, summarizes it perfectly. Swiatek's the complete player for sure, and she's going to be around for many years to come, in my opinion.
Yes.
I think we're going to probably see a few of her highlight reels later on as well, because she's probably nominated for a few, to be honest.
Indeed. But let's move over. We're going to be going women's, men's in the same category. So we're going to stick with the same category, and we got most improved player, but this time on the ATP side. I'm guaranteed that at least it will say ATP correctly for all of the rankings. Yeah, you never know. As long as the right players are playing in the video, that's all I care about. Right. So in this category, I'll be able to bring up the nominees if I'll just find the correct one. So the nominees for most improved player in the ATP. Most improved player. Ugo Humbert. Andrei Rublev. Borna Choric. Aslan Karatsev. And there you go, the ATP nominees there. So we had Ugo Humbert first up. Should we just have a quick word about Ugo?
What was the four?
Ugo Humbert, Andrei Rublev, Borna Choric, and Aslan Karatsev.
Obviously, we could have had Sinner there as well, but he's in another category, so we thought we'd leave him off this one. But he's definitely would have been in contention as well. But out of them four, we'll start, like you said, with Ugo Humbert. I've got a bit of information here about him. Obviously, now he's a 22-year-old. He's 30th in the world. What a season he's had! He's won 2 titles. He won Antwerp and Auckland. One's an indoor hard court, the other outdoor hard, and he's just been so good. Like, I remember we did a podcast about him. Is he underrated? We thought he was going to win that tournament. He did win in it. It was Antwerp, I believe.
Yeah, Antwerp. Yep.
And just a phenomenal player. His overall game's solid. I just to see his progression just seems to be a lot better than all other young players his age around that kind of group of, like, say 50 to 100. He progressed a lot more than everyone else, in my opinion. So
yeah,
I find him super exciting.
Yeah, I totally agree. Obviously, he managed to beat Stefanos Tsitsipas in that tournament that he managed to go on and win. Beat Alex de Minaur, obviously, in the final, another top player. had some great wins. I mean, he was just looking super strong this year, and they couldn't speak highly enough of him on all of the like tennis channels. They're really expecting big things from him in the future, and so do I. I think that there's going to be a potential. We spoke briefly about him to Gil Gross as well, and he was saying top maybe top 25, maybe even top 20. You never know.
Agreed. Mate, it's a record this year. He played 26 matches, won 20. No, sorry, he played 36 matches. He won 24 and lost 12. So it's a pretty impressive record considering when you're like 30th in the world, you're only playing the top players anyway. So these are all ATP 250s and above. So fair play to him. He's done amazing this year. And if he can kick on from that, he's going to be going places next year for sure. The next one on the list, who is it?
The next one on the list was Andrei Rublev. And how can we? Well, I think we've spoken about him in length. I don't think we're going to be, I don't know.
Look at the comments. Everyone's saying Rublev, to be fair. So you've got Mary's going for Rublito. Rublev, obviously. Thomas Rocks agrees. The Lamb loves a bit of Rublev as well. And it's hard to dismiss him. Obviously, no one won more ATP titles than him. I don't think anyone won more matches. Is that right?
No, I think he was the one.
Djokovic was second on both of them accounts.
Yep.
But Rublev was amazing this year. There's no two ways of putting it. Like, people didn't expect him to progress this quick and this well. So credit to him. He's clearly been putting the work off the court on, like just working hard. And he's just a really top player. And next year we'll see what happens because he obviously managed to qualify for the ATP Nitto finals. No one expected that.
Incredible.
Was a little bit disappointing, but he ended up beating Dominic Thiem in it and was very close to beating Tsitsipas as well. So the future is very bright for him. And I'm sure Jackie will want us to big him up just as well. So he's certainly in for, he's got a good chance of winning this one.
Oh, definitely does. 5 titles, don't forget, the most of anybody in 2020. And he's just a player that everybody's touting. I mean, Roger Federer himself, he's the one that he's picked out of all of the next gen that's going to do the business, really. And going to be that next player to make the jump and start taking the Grand Slam, taking the world by storm, so to speak. And I tend to agree with him. After that last year, maybe in 2019, I might have just had some reservations.
Federer predicted his 2020. He said he was going to do amazing things, and that's exactly what happened.
Smart man. Smart man. Maybe he only picked it because he thought, I'm injured this year, so he'll probably go on and win a few. But I think he would have done very, very well, even if Roger was there. But I think, obviously, we've spoke about him in length on so many podcasts, Rublev, and we've sort of could talk about him till the cows come home. But I think he's there, and his titles, his wins, and his 2020 is probably greater than anybody on tour this year. So,
yeah, and you've got to remember, guys, these are the nominations we've put together because they're not necessarily what the mainstream people would say. So the next one we've got on there, was it Aslan Karatsev? Another nominee?
Next one was Borna Coric.
Yeah, we'll just talk about Aslan Karatsev.
All right. Okay,
for him, the reason, like, people were like, oh, why is he on there? I am just a massive fan. I'm a massive fan. What he's done this year is nothing sort of remarkable. I don't know if you want to get up his flash scores, Ben, and just
That's
go.
What I was just about to do. It's just
I feel like you have to, but just while Ben's doing that, you look at his 2019, he's 289th in the world. 2020, he's jumped to 112 now. If the season went on any longer, it'd be well inside the top 100. The way he's going, I've never seen the trajectory like it. He just seems to be winning everything. He's played 19 matches this year on clay. He won 17 of them and lost 2. I think one of which was against Dan Wawrinka, who dropped down to the champion.
Yeah, it was.
Have you got it up? Yeah?
Yeah, 1 second. I'll just share it with you.
Yeah, while you're doing that, I'll just go through this then. So on the hard, it wasn't as good, but still 18-9. 18 wins to 9 losses. And just a phenomenal play. Won 2 titles as well. And for me, like, he's just someone where the break in tennis has just seemed to help him. He come back and was just on fire, beating everyone he was playing. He got a bit unlucky there.
Shall I go down the list so we can get that big run of
start? You can see all the W's. It's pretty crazy.
I mean, it was probably around just after the exhibitions, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right, so you just got around here.
This is where it comes back. So tennis has resumed here. So you got Prague, the challenger there in Prague. Got all the way to the final, beating Golbis there. You got Vesely, Robin Haase, But these aren't bad players. They're all very good players. Played the final against Wawrinka, was super close. Went to break the first set. Then he just went, oh, well, let's play another one in pro. Lost that one. Let's go again. Then he went through cards, DVDs. These are all really top challenger players. He had Wawrinka again on this one. He's thinking, oh gosh, not him again. And he pulled out this time, so he got away with it. And then he beat, for me, Greek Sport.
Yep.
You guys won't know this, but Greek Sport, before he beat him, was on a crazy run. He was beating everyone, and he's a phenomenal player. He's the #1 ranked Dutch player in the world as well.
Yes, he is. And then look at that.
Just credit to him, honestly. And then it just kept going and going, really. After winning that, he thought, what happened there? He played another one, did he?
Yeah, another one in Ostrava.
He kept in Czech Republic, played another one. I'll take that as well. Van der Sloot, Oscarotti, light work. Let's go. Thomas Machado didn't drop a set. All in straight sets.
That's what I mean.
It's amazing, really is. And then he keeps going and keeps going. This is where the disappointment comes in, but it is Sebastian Korda. Very good player. And this is for the French Open qualification. So he's a bit unlucky, really. But if you go up, what happens? Sorry, just slightly up. No, that's where it is. No, sorry, that's fine. Yeah. Yeah, so he is a bit unlucky. St. Petersburg, he beat Tennis Sangren. Obviously, Sangren's a top player on hard as well, indoor hard. That's not really his surface, but it's crazy. He took Hachanov. What's Hachanov? A top 20 player?
Yeah, well, he was top 10 at one point.
Yeah, top 10. Like, he's well up there. That's what I'm saying. And he managed to take him to 3 sets. Very close.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just gets better and better for him. Popper into top 100 player. You got Donskoy, you got Huesler up there. He's had a fantastic year. Karetsev managed to beat him as well. There's a few losses in there as well. Ivashka, Gaio.
Well, Ivashka was on absolute.
He lost against Ivashka.
Well, Ivashka was on an absolute tear in November. I think he won maybe 10, 12 in a row. So just met another guy who was doing the same sort of thing, really.
Yeah, for me, that's why he is worthy of, for me, most improved. He's been phenomenal. Like, you could argue Sinner was there, but we thought we'd do maybe an outsider, someone who doesn't get so much limelight. And yeah, I thought he was amazing. Let's see what he does next year. And then the last one on the list was
Borna Coric, and I've noticed that people saying in the chat there that they're not too sure on this inclusion, but I disagree. I mean, I think for us, this has got to bear in mind, this is our most improved, because we didn't really give him much credit in the past year or the past couple of years before the podcast even started. And now, this year, we got to give this guy some credit where it's due, I think. He managed to come back 6 match points against Tsitsipas and take that match in the US Open. Yeah. And he got to the final in St. Petersburg and a good match against Rublev as well. So I think he's had a really, really good 2020, to be honest.
Yeah, and mate, I'm not his biggest fan, as you know, but he has got better, to be fair to him. There was a few other players who I thought could have maybe made up the nomination, but... And
don't forget about his... he had a match, obviously, in Vienna against Novak Djokovic, where they went to that 13-11 tiebreak, and Coric could have quite easily taken that. And the tennis...
it was the Tsitsipas one, wasn't it? He beat Tsitsipas. That was an impressive one. In the
that was the impressive one. But that one against Djokovic, that tiebreak set, was so good that it was just unfortunate that he lost the first set, and then Djokovic, obviously, he took the next set as well. But Djokovic was just trying to get to that, trying to get that world #1 for the end of the year, wasn't he? Once he got that, and he was sort of checked out of that tournament. But I'm sort of seeing like a bit of promise, like for the next coming year, because in that St. Petersburg, he didn't have easy matches. He had 2 huge servers that he came up against, Opelka and Raonic, back to back, and beat both of them. I mean, no one wants to face Opelka or Raonic, and to face them one after the next and to beat both of them. I thought that was pretty good going from Coric, to be honest.
Mate, no, you've made a good claim for him, to be fair. He's not my winner, but who is the winner, Ben?
He would never be your winner. He's up there with some other ones from yours. But yeah, should we announce the winner of is this one most improved player? We're still in the first category. God,
yeah, that's what
I feel like we've been. I felt like we were on like the 4th category already. So let's do the winner of ATP Most Improved Player of 2020. Andrei Rublev.
Yeah, exactly. Do we even need to comment on why he was the winner? No one won more matches than him. No one won more ATP titles. He was phenomenal this year. And yeah, he's right up there. You can't say he's not the most improved player, because for me, he certainly was.
No, well, I think I definitely agree. It's hard to even big up the other categories when you've got someone like Andrei Rublev sat there and he's had such a storming year. But yeah, we've got to talk up all of the nominees because they have had good years as well. So it's not just all about just these top 10 players all the time. And obviously people like Aslan Karatsev, we don't forget the Challenger Tour is what got us here. So this is why we're going to keep on bigging up players from the Challenger Tour, and it's never going to stop on GTL. So we're going to be keeping you up to date.
I did say that. I wasn't sure if he won the most matches. He was tied. That's why I don't know why
he's tied. Okay.
Milan was saying there Novak had the same 41.
Well, there you go. So he did win the most, but it was the same.
Yeah, so in theory it is, but yeah, he's tied with Novak. But regardless, Rublev, to say if you ask Rublev for the season, are you going to be tied with the most wins, the same amount of wins as Novak Djokovic? I think he would have taken it every day.
Oh, for sure. And he would have taken 5. He would have bitten your hand off if he said he's going to have 5 titles by the end of the year. So
he would have taken a few.
He's got a lot to live up to in 2021, though. 5 titles this year. How many can he get next year? Maybe he can get some grand. If he could just exchange those 5 for a Grand Slam, do you reckon he'd do that?
Maybe too soon, but anyway, let's go on to the next category, Ben, because we're going to go on too long otherwise.
Yeah, we are indeed, mate. So the next category we've got is Newcomer of the Year, and we're going to be going for WTA first. Let's hope that they all say WTA and not ATP in the rankings. I've got me very worried about this now. So it's Newcomer of the Year. Newcomer of the Year. Nadia Podoroska. Martina Trevisan. Leila Fernandez. Anne Lee. And there you go. There are the nominees. And it does look like I have forgotten to change it on all of them. So let's just keep that in mind. It is obviously WTA rankings. Apologies, guys. But anyway, those are the newcomers for 2020. We got Nadia Podoroska. She had a fantastic year, obviously. She obviously got to the semi-finals in France, which nobody saw coming. But that was obviously the end of a run.
I think it's the first Argentine as well to do it since Del Potro.
Yeah, exactly. But she was on that run of about 15 matches unbeaten up until then. And that just has to get her on the list anyway, because I don't think she was on many people's radar before then. And now, household name. So well done to her. Next on there, Martina Trevisan. She's obviously just graced...
another Italian.
Yeah, another Italian there, gracing our screens, and did very well again. This French Open just sort of opened our eyes to a few players, didn't it, this year, I think?
Yeah. Who was the newcomers? These are people we've not really seen ever before. So Anne Lee, the first time I really saw her was the US Open. And she beat Alison Risk very comfortable. I think it was like 6-3, 6-love, which was, I don't know, I must admit, it's pretty crazy. And then she lost in the third round to Angelique Kerber. but come on, like 2 wins at the US Open in her first main draw wins of the WTA is just incredible. And she had a fantastic year on the back of that, super young as well. So the future is certainly really bright for her.
Yeah.
And then the final one on the list was...
The final one on the list was Leylah Fernandez, who obviously went to the final in Acapulco against...
18 years old, isn't she? Or 18,
yeah, 18, yeah. And she obviously played our countrywoman, sorry. Heather Watson. Yeah, Heather Watson obviously won there. But yeah, she did very well. She won 20 matches this year. That's very impressive from Leylah Fernandez. So I think big things from her in the future. I think that she's... going to be one of the ones to watch, really, on the women's tour, but she's maybe just a bit too young at the moment.
To stand out, though, regardless out of that list, it's got to be Podoroska for me. She won so many matches in a row. There was a period where she just couldn't lose.
Well, you just didn't... Yeah, go on.
No, sorry, it was crazy. I think Milan, they're saying she won 15 in a row.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty mad. Like, she was really doing some amazing stuff. I think the French Open was maybe a step too far, when she got kind of battered, didn't she, by Iga Swiatek? But I think most players would have. Like, it's no... I don't want to be too harsh enough. I think on that day, Swiatek, there's not many players who would have beaten her.
No one.
Maybe a prime Serena Williams or a Saka who's just playing out of her skin. But Swiatek was just so good. And so credit to Podoroska for getting so far. She's definitely a really good player. For me, the thing I love about watching her is her consistency. She knows when to slice, and she's always very good at returning very deep as well. So she's going to be one to watch.
Oh, most definitely. I think that she's sort of been a breath of fresh air for the women's tour. Don't forget, all these players sort of did burst onto the scene when we did have a few absentees as well, but can't take too much away from them. They still had to beat the players in front of them, and one of the players was obviously Svitolina that she had to take out, and she did it in good fashion. So I think she's very warranted of her thing. I think we should just move on, and because we got a lot of categories to get through, and just announce the winner of this category, which is the newcomer of the year for the WTA. Nadia Podoroska.
Hey. I'm glad because I wasn't sure it was who was the actual winner there. So I'm glad it was her, because she definitely was the deserved winner.
She definitely was. Anyway,
was. On to the next category, Ben. What is the next one?
We've got the men's next. Don't forget, it's the same category.
Oh, sorry, same category. We've got the newcomer for the men's. So these are some exciting ones on here.
So we've got the newcomer of the year, but this one is for the men's side. So newcomer of the year, but this is for the ATP side. So let me just find it. Sorry, because there's just so many bits and pieces on here. Yeah, God forbid that I haven't uploaded one. That would be the worst case scenario, wouldn't it?
Oh, gosh.
I know, don't say that, mate. But anyway, well, I'm just going to have a quick look on her. I'm pretty sure it's on there. But anyway, I'll take you through the nominees anyway while I'm just checking. The nominees for...
It's not on there, I don't think.
Is it not? Okay. So the nominees for the newcomer of the year is Sayboth Wild.
Yep. Obviously won a title this year.
Yeah. We've got Alcaraz Garcia, Carlos Alcaraz. Don't forget, he obviously played his first ATP match this year and actually won against was it Ramos Vinolas, I believe.
Yeah. So the next one
was Lorenzo Musetti, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously don't forget about the year that Lorenzo Musetti had. Lorenzo Musetti had quite an incredible year where
there was some crazy good newcomers this year. So obviously other notable ones, we had Rodionov, There was Rusevori as well. I think he's the other nomination, wasn't he? He was the final one. So we had Musetti, Alcaraz, Rusevori, and what was the first one you said?
Seyboth Wild.
And Seyboth Wild. So there was the 4. Between the 4, let us know, guys. Who do you think is the winner from the 4? Ben's just going to upload the thing so we can see the 4 graphics. But while we do that, I might as well just talk about them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, don't forget there's the last one.
The youngest. Alcaraz is the youngest. He, for me, has the highest seeding. I think he's going to do really good things. But looking at 2020, if I had to pick out of the 4, for me, I'd go for Musetti. And the reason for that is in what's it? Is it Rome? In Rome, he had a fantastic tournament. He beat Nishikori. Did he bagel Wawrinka? Was it a bagel? I know he beat Wawrinka.
Yeah, I mean, he battered him, mate.
He completely battered him in 2 sets. And Musetti was just phenomenal. Like, this guy, he's built. Like, he's a big player. Like, he's so young, but he just looks... He plays tennis well above his years. And for me, he's going to be right up there. I think he's going to have a lot of battles with the other players, to be fair. Seyboth Wild included. He had coronavirus this year, come back from that. Also, he won a title at the beginning of the year. I think Musetti and Alcaraz, that rivalry there is just so exciting. That is one of the most exciting rivalries in tennis for me. And
yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, don't forget, he obviously won his first challenger of the year as well, which was the Forlì Challenger in Italy. So he had a really, really great year, and he beat some incredible players. And in a Masters as well, don't forget. It wasn't just any old match. It was a Masters that he won in as well. And don't forget the last on the list that we haven't spoken about, which is Marc-Andrea Huesler. And Marc-Andrea Huesler is a very, very promising young Swiss player who...
he's not on the list, is he, for Newcomer of the Year?
Yes, he is, yeah.
I thought Rusevori was on it.
No, it was Marc-Andrea Huesler. Okay. And he got to the semi-final in Kitzbühel in Austria. And then he actually won 2 challenges as well this year. So this is what I mean. Like, he's a person that you probably might not have known about previously, Marc-Andrea Huesler. But now, well, I think he's a person that we watch out 2021. He could be coming into the talks in ATP tournaments.
Well, he's a Swiss player. And we've actually, I'm going to give a little spoiler to you. We've actually spoke to him last week. So we've got a podcast coming out next week with Huesler. Really interesting guy, top player. But to me, Ben, I think we should announce the winner. So just go for it, announce the winner.
I'm going to play the nominees because I managed to upload it. Sorry if you saw my thing.
There's no point doing it now, mate. There's no point. We've just spoken about the nominees.
We got to have it. We got to have it. I haven't worked this out for nothing.
Newcomer of the Year. Thiago Seyboth Wild. Carlos Alcaraz. Lorenzo Musetti. Marc-Andrea Huesler.
There you go. There's you finally got to see the graphic, and it was worth the wait, wasn't it? Because there's some incredible shots there and some incredible 4 players that we got to keep our eye on. But let's get rapidly on with it, and let's get on with the actual winner of that category. So we've got ATP Newcomer of the Year 2020.
Lorenzo Musetti.
Yeah, wow, man. Honestly, wow. And you look at the last shot he played, that backhand down the line. It was just his trademark at the end, mate. And he did it against Stan Wawrinka, of all people. It's like rubbing salt in the wounds, isn't it, with that backhand?
It was like you throw yours, I'll throw mine. It was just coming thick and fast that day, wasn't it, against Stan? I loved that.
Yeah. And for me, Musetti, he's a deserved winner for sure.
I think so.
Alcaraz next year, maybe we could see him potentially. Well, he won't win this award, but he might win Young Player of the Year or something.
Definitely. I think so.
Yeah, there's been so many exciting newcomers. All of the list, what we've just mentioned, are going to be there next year. They're going to be in contention to win things because they're all exciting young players. They'll play with no fear, and they've definitely got the ability. It's all about gaining a bit more consistency, experience, and going from there.
Most definitely, mate. Most definitely. Let's move on swiftly to the next category, which is a bit of a weird one. I know we had to put in something a bit more abstract into the awards. We couldn't just have it all just great, or everything's the best. Most disappointing players of the year for GTL in the next categories.
And one thing we should do for this is let's not talk too much about all the nominations you've done weird because I feel like it's a bit harsh.
Yeah, some of them we've probably just we've had to fill out a category of 4, let's say, but there was just a couple of people in each category that probably just deserve to be there. But yeah, well, I'll get on with the WTA nominees.
Most disappointing play. Karolina Pliskova. Sara Errani. Taylor Townsend. Bernarda Pera.
So yeah, I'm going to kick this one off straight off the bat and talk about Karolina Pliskova because people might be like, why is she there? She started the year quite good. It's more the fact that I'm just so disappointed in her. She's always she's six in the world. Yeah. Never has a run in the Grand Slam. Always loses to someone she should be beating.
Yeah.
It's just not good enough, personally. I'm not sure what it is. Some issues with her coach, whether it's just the mental side of her game. She just can't seem to do it on the big occasion recently. In 2020 as a whole, and it's just poor. It's just poor.
Well,
I'm not going to add anything about her, but it's more me. Like I'm just disappointed with her more than anything.
This is the reason where we got to make this clear. It's not like that we're just going to hate on Pliskova because she's an incredible player, but I think that
I think we just expect so much more from her. She's someone we hold her in the high regards. Like. If you would have caught me in 2019, I'd have her winning certain tournaments and stuff because I always rate her so highly. And that's what hurts because I rated her all the way up here and then she's performed like down here this year and it's just not good enough. The next one on the list, Sara Errani, she had pulled off some good results this year as well. But for me, that service performance I saw at Roland Garros was actually one of the worst things I've ever seen in tennis. That whole day was just absolutely atrocious. It was embarrassing. I think she played one whole service game with underarm serves at one stage. She didn't even do a normal serve. She just lost the plot. Lost the plot, didn't know what to do, couldn't serve, couldn't throw the ball up in the air. It's embarrassing. It was on TV as well in the UK, so ITV4. And it's just not a good poster for people who don't watch tennis. They see someone who can't even throw the ball up in the air playing in the ground. After that, Kiki Bertens gets injured, and then she mocks her when she goes off on a wheelchair, and she's there mocking her. Honestly, for me, most disappointing, without a doubt.
Don't forget, this is somebody.
Announcer is the winner right now.
Don't forget, this is somebody who's been to the final of the French Open as well as Sara Errani, and she's still not mastered serving yet this late in her career. I just think it's.
She can though. She's actually not a bad player.
No, but apparently it's something that does happen frequently for her as well. This ball toss is just something that's always caused her problems, and it shouldn't. Come on, look, you're old enough now. You're so experienced. You just must know how to throw the ball up in the air by now. Come on, like it's a simple. That's one of the easiest parts of tennis, isn't it? Just throw a ball up straight. I don't know. For me, I don't know what happened that day. That day it was over exaggerated, obviously, and it just looked bizarre. She did it about 6 times in a row, didn't she? But
yeah, then mocked Kiki Bertens as well on top of it. I know Milan's a bit angry with that. He called it a disgrace. It was kind of thing. I didn't like it.
Well, how can you like it if someone's mocking another player when they're actually, even if you don't know if they're injured or not, you can't mock other.
You don't assume.
Let's see the winner, mate.
Sara Errani.
Yeah,
there you go.
Between them two, Pliskova and Errani, the other two, I think is slightly harsh. They have been disappointing. They're right. They could have done better. But for me, Sara Errani, most disappointing because although I know Andy's saying Sarah's not really good anymore, so not really disappointing. I understand she's not good, but if you can't serve and you're a tennis player, that's disappointing, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
I think you're super disappointed with her, and she certainly deserves winning that.
I think so. I think it was just like it was one of those things. It's just judged upon how we saw it from the matches we watched this year. We didn't have much tennis to watch, and to watch something like that was disappointing for us, really, to be honest. So that's the reason for it. You might either agree or disagree, but it's not going to change it. It's still the most disappointing one. Here we go. We go with the men's most disappointing now. See if you agree with these ones. Here we go.
Most disappointing play. Felix Auger-Aliassime. Nicolas Bassiashvili. David Goffin. Benoit Paire.
And I don't think it would be fair if we didn't have an award for Benoit Paire. He's in there at the end, smashing up his racket. And it was a really disappointing year for him. Obviously, contracted COVID, wasn't able to play in certain tournaments. Then he was testing positive after he's been tested negative, and it was all a bit up in the air. He got bageled numerous times. Didn't put together many good results whatsoever. No.
It was this highlight.
The only thing that wasn't disappointing was his Instagram lives with Stan Wawrinka and the bottle of wine.
Yeah, and those little short shorts he was wearing when he was on holiday. I think they caused a stir anyway. But I think with his year, it's been a disappointing year. But he had COVID. It's a bit harsh, a little bit. It's Benoit Paire. You know that he can be a little bit up and down. He'll be disappointed with himself. I thought David Goffin, his worst run in about 6 years, I think he's had this year. I think he lost, maybe 4 or 5 in a row on the ATP Tour, which is a bit shocking for Goffin, to be honest, but nowhere near as many as Bassiashvili, who I think
started the year well, and then he just sort of faded away. The whole coronavirus thing just took him by a surprise. Bassiashvili, as you mentioned, had all the stuff going off court with all the domestic accusations, and I'm not sure if he was ever found guilty of it, but regardless, it's not a good look. And it clearly did affect him in some way on the court because he couldn't pull together a win. I think he could win a set at one stage. I think he did towards the end, but it was super poor. Like, I've never seen something like it. For a player who's well within the top 50, to not be able to pull together a few sets is pretty appalling. And then the last one on the list was...
It's Felix Auger-Aliassime, who obviously got to those finals again. He seems to be
5 finals he's been in now.
It's too many, and he's losing at every single one. I showed, obviously, apologies for the graphic there I put up, which was just him losing finals. But what other way to
We're never
explain
ever
it?
going to get Felix on the podcast.
I just think we expect a lot more from him. That's all. I mean, we have hold him in high regard. We just want to see him reach his potential. Obviously, he's playing very tough players in the finals. Zverev, Tsitsipas, people like that. Sam Monfils, but
Yeah.
still, you expect him maybe to do a little bit better.
Maybe in one, I think.
Has he won? Has he won any sets? That's the problem. I don't think he wins sets in finals, and I think
it's just finals. He just seems to crumble. But we know Andy Murray took him a while in finals to sort of get the first win.
Yeah.
And obviously, it took Dominic Thiem a few attempts with us in the Grand Slam finals. So we never know. Marius Guys, they're saying it was 6 finals. So yeah, 5 or 6.
Yeah.
We're exactly on the number. So it's just too many, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was we could put Zverev in there too, but he did win back-to-back.
A lot of people said Zverev should be in there. Was Zverev that disappointing? He got to his first ever Grand Slam final, won back-to-back tournaments in Cologne. It was disappointing in spells, but I think that would be slightly harsh in terms of I'm not his biggest fan. I don't like his style of play. I hate all the antics.
Final in Paris.
You could say he's the most disappointing for all the stuff what happened outside of the court, for sure.
Yeah,
I think he probably wins that one. Him and Bashvili's probably tied.
Bashvili. And this is where Bashvili, he obviously lost, I think it was 12 in a row, and didn't win a set for the first 11 of them. So, and then lost on match point on the last one to Marc-André Huesler, obviously, and wasted his 2 match points and then got beaten in the tiebreak.
Yeah, and we spoke at depth about that match to Huesler. So stay tuned for our next podcast. You'll see that one.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting, that. But yeah, let's just announce the winner of this one. Most disappointing men's player 2020.
Nicolas Bassiashvili.
Yeah, it had to be.
We can't even clap that one. But, mate, you should have saved your stat for after you announced the winner.
No, I just
we'll reiterate it. 12 matches. He only won sets in the last one. So it's just poor. And a season to forget for him. We'll see how he comes back in 2021.
Sad, really. I mean, obviously, he was a, top 40 player. So, and to see him perform in the way he's performed, obviously, since all the allegations, sort of reminds me a little bit like Tiger Woods when he had all his problems off the course, and then he suddenly became half the golfer that he ever was. And hopefully it's not the same case for Bassiashvili. Hopefully he can recover from it and get back the same way Tiger's done. Yeah. So wait and see, I guess. But the next one is going to be Young Player of the Year.
It's an exciting one, isn't it?
Young Player of the Year, and it'll be WTA up first for Young Player of the Year. Shall we see the Young Player of the Year nominees? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Young Player of the Year, Iga Swiatek. Corey Goff. Amanda Anisimova. Sophia Kenin.
There you go. There's your 4. You got Iga Swiatek there. She obviously, we've mentioned her already in the most improved player. She's there warranted again for Young Player of the Year. She's obviously she's 19 years old. French Open champion, has to
the
be in there.
criteria, isn't it, for our young player of the year? It's under 21.
Under 21, yeah. So yeah, she should be in there. And Corey Goff, yeah, I think that she's always going to be in there or thereabouts with chatting about young players and how good they are. She obviously had a fairly decent year. I mean, it's such good. She's held
Could
in
have been
such
better, but because we hold so high standards for her, it's hard to sort of rate her too highly. But yeah, like you say, she's had a brilliant year, really, to maintain her level and be playing. You got to remember, she's extremely new to the tour. It's her second year, really, on the tour.
Yeah.
She's 16 years old, 48th in the world. So now she's playing against all the top players and maintaining her level and playing good matches. So for that alone, she's got to be in there. What she's doing is remarkable. And I generally do think when she develops and like physically as well, obviously she's going to grow into her body a lot more. She's probably going to get stronger, a little bit more wise, more experience on the court. She's only going to get better. So watch out for her in about 3 years' time. Yep. So she's definitely up there. Who have you spoke about so far?
Anisimova is the next one on the list, who obviously is really, really bright young prospect from America. I think she's an incredible player. She did pretty well at the beginning of the year over in Auckland, but then came up short against Serena Williams, obviously. But she did pretty well there. Then she's just had sort of one of those years. It's been fairly steady, fairly good, but I think she's just such a promising player. I just want to keep her there at the forefront of everybody's minds. I think she's going to be
nominated because she shows flashes of brilliance in matches. Doesn't do it enough yet, but some of the stuff she does do can beat any player on their day.
Yeah, for sure. She obviously beat some high class opposition this year. Donna Vekic she beat over in Rome as well. That was incredible. And she's beat Bernarda Pera. She bageled Pera as well, which was pretty impressive. So,
and just quickly on Wild Live, they're saying Goff didn't really take much of a step up this year. For me, that doesn't really matter too much. Not taking a step down, I think, was more important. She's so young and she's maintaining her level of where she is. For me, that in itself is unbelievable. And the way she's so young as well. So that's why she deserves it for me in terms of like thing. In fact, I can't even remember who the winner is for this. I think the last one on the list was Kenin. Is that correct?
Kenin's the last on the list.
What can we say about Kenin? What a year she has had. She's going to be nominated up there for the Player of the Year as well, for sure, because she's had a great year. Obviously, won a title at the beginning of the year, Australian Open. Got to another one as well, another French Open final, this time against Swiatek. Didn't win on that occasion. But for 21-year-old, she is phenomenal.
We sort of let her sneak into this category as well because she is 22 as of mid-November, but she's just been so good. I mean, you've got to give it to her. At 22 years old, she's achieved quite a lot already, and this year's been a fantastic year from her, I think. And bright future for her in 2021. I'm excited to see her.
In the world now? Where's her ranking in the world, Kenin?
4. Number 4, yeah. So
she's a young girl, 4th in the world. Yeah, certainly is deserving of this nomination.
And here we go. Let's see the winner.
Iga Swiatek.
Yeah, Iga Swiatek.
It's that girl again, and it was for me. It's a toss up between her and Kenin.
Yeah.
Reason probably I would have gone just for Swiatek was based off the fact that Kenin was maybe a little bit more consistent. Kenin had that performance where she got double bagel, didn't she?
By Azarenka.
Azarenka double bageled her, and I don't understand that. You can't really give it just was super disappointing for me to see that. And for me, I thought Swiatek, the level she played at was just phenomenal. She beat Kenin. She actually beat Kenin in the thing. So she's beating her again as well in the GTL Awards.
Yeah, and don't forget that she is younger than Kenin as well by a few years. So I think for Young Player of the Year, give the young gun who beat Kenin the award, I think. I think that's warranted. I don't think there can be any disagreement. She's that much younger and she beat her. So, she has to surely take the Young Player of the Year award. Up next, we obviously have it's going to be the men's one, which is going to be the men's Young Player of the Year award, which is going to be a very interesting one as well, because we know there's been some real hot young talent on the men's tour this year.
We've had a lot of names for this one.
Yeah, that's it. We could have done. We had to compress it into 4. Here we go.
Young Player of the Year. Yannick Sinner. Casper Ruud. Alex de Minaur. Miomir Kekmanovic.
There you go.
A few of these new winners as well. Young players. Sinner obviously winning his first title this year. Kesmanovic winning his first title too.
Yep. Don't forget we had Alex de Minaur. Well, with Casper Ruud, he won.
Casper Ruud won a title.
Yeah.
De Minaur didn't, but he come close. He got to a final, maybe. I think only one final, but he played some good stuff. And Alex de Minaur, we started at the beginning of the year, ATP Cup. Was just electric. That match against Rafael Nadal, I'll always remember it as one of my favourite moments of 2020, to be fair.
Yes,
I know Nadal won the match, but Alex de Minaur was incredible that day. Kyrgios was there off standing up, couldn't believe some of the shots we were seeing.
And don't forget his... Yeah, go on. Yeah, I was going to say with Alex de Minaur, don't forget his run in the US Open as well. He only got taken out by Dominic Thiem, was the only one who could stop him, the eventual winner. He obviously took out Khachanov, Pospisil, Gasquet. He had a great tournament. So, move on though anyway to the next one. Casper Ruud, you're going to say.
Yeah, I just love him, man. I just love him.
Yeah,
forehand, backhand side, the amount of spin he generates on the ball is way up there with one of the best. You look at, say Dominic Thiem, maybe. And he's just a phenomenal player. Really good on clay. That's certainly his surface. He needs to be standing way off the baseline, and that's when he's the most dangerous for me. Doing a lot better than what his dad did. He's well up there in the rankings now as well. So just a credit to Casper Ruud.
Yeah, totally agree. Obviously, the last one on the list, Kekmanovic. He obviously...
he was Sinner, mate. He got Sinner as well.
Well, Sinner as well, yeah. We'll get to him. He's going to obviously be...
Kekmanovic now.
We do Kekmanovic now, and obviously he won his first ever ATP event in Kitzbühel, which was against Yannick Hanfmann. Obviously beat Marc-André Huesler in the semi-finals. Just was looking super solid all year, and I think that there's a real promise inside. I was seeing sort of signs of like maybe like a Djokovic-esque, like obviously Serbian as well. He has that same returning of serve. He can get everything back in court. Super good all-round player.
Not quite the same, but it's still very good.
yeah. He's young, so he's still got time to grow.
Very high praise from Ben there. He's comparing Kecmanovic's return to Djokovic.
Well,
I know what you mean. It's getting there. Like he's an extremely good returner, and we actually know that firsthand from speaking to another player we had on the podcast. Another podcast was going to be coming out, and that's Yannick Hanfmann, the finalist of the ATP event. We spoke to him, and we were speaking about what it was like playing a Kecmanovic. Yep. So make sure you tune in for that one.
Indeed.
But yeah, the final player. I'm excited. I'm glad I get to talk about this one. That's Yannick Sinner, the Italian, the young gun. What a player. What a season this has been. He could really be involved in every single award for me in terms of like a nomination, apart from the disappointing one. And Sinner's just been so good. Like a lot of talks now. Can he make the Nitto ATP finals next year? I don't want to talk too much about it. For me, I'd like to see him win another ATP event. Obviously, the Grand Slams are too soon, but another ATP event, that would be remarkable for me to see that next year and see him progress. He's got the overall game. He's powerful. He reads the game well. Just seems so calm as well. So, yeah, let's see who wins, Ben.
Mate, I totally agree. I think he's had a fantastic year. He's done well did so well at the French Open. That performance against Rafa Nadal was probably one of the best you saw in the tournament. And from such a young kid, amazing. Great to see him to finally win his first tournament. So I think, well, let's see if I can find the winner. Here we go.
Jannik Sinner.
Hey, and there we go. Of course, Jannik Sinner, deserved champion of that award for sure. Young
Indeed.
Player of the Year. Maybe next year could be up for another award. Maybe the GTL Player of the Year. We never know.
Yeah, hey, I know. Yeah, well, such a top player. But as we now move on to the final round of GTL Awards 2020, which is going to start with Player of the Year and the WTA side. And should we
just say it's the final one? It is the final one, but we do have a little special one lined up just afterwards, which is well, we'll get on to that. But this is the final big one, tennis related.
Yeah, the final big. Yeah, that's a good point, JG. Good point. The final big one that's tennis related. Okay, here we go. The final big one that's, well, here we go. WTA.
Player of the Year. Victoria Azarenka. Naomi Osaka. Sophia Kenin. Iga Swiatek. Irina Sabalenka.
Wow, a lot of top players there on show, and all the Grand Slams. We've got the Australian Open winner, US Open winner, French Open winner. Obviously not Wimbledon, didn't take place, but the other three, we've got them there. So it's a really tough one. You've got Sabalenka there as well, obviously winning 3 titles in 2020. Impressive, really impressive. And end of the year, very strong. So even for her, I remember looking at it, the only match she lost, when she did, I think she lost only 3 matches. Is that right?
Yeah, she didn't lose many. She didn't lose many.
And the ones she did lose, it was all in 3 sets. She didn't lose basically 1 match in 2020 in straight sets. So she's very resilient and a player to watch out for. Obviously, we're going to be seeing on this award, Kenin versus Swiatek yet again. Swiatek won it on the first occasion of young player. Obviously, she's a bit younger, so that's going to be more in her favour. But this one, it's hard to sort of, for me, go against Kenin over Swiatek. The reason being that she's won a Grand Slam and got to a final of another. And consistently, she's been the better player for me than Swiatek.
Well,
what do you think?
I tend to agree. I just think it's hard to ignore the fact that she kicked off the year. Remember, we was doing our first podcasts, and that was the big news. Sophia Kenin, first time Grand Slam champion with a crowd there, and she took sort of the 2020 by storm, really. And we didn't really give her much hope on the clay courts either. And we were sort of surprised to see her just sort of grind her way through the draw. And I thought that was really impressive. That was a side of her which I think is underrated. The fact that she's
really good point, mate. We've never seen that side of her, and she did do that. There was a lot of times we were sort of backing. I remember when we was doing our shows, like our preview shows for the matches. A lot of the time we were saying, I reckon Kenin's going to go out this next round. Always surprised us. Always 3 sets as well.
Yeah,
and managed to come through. Then the other 2 on the list, Azarenka. Does she even need an introduction? what a comeback season for her. And then the last one is Naomi Osaka. Both of them were the finalists in the US Open. It was a spectacular final. I really enjoyed watching it. Well up there for me as one of my favourite matches of the year. I thought both players were exceptionally good first set.
Epic.
But Osaka just had a lot too much ready for her.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think Azarenka was just one of those. She was just the surprise package of the year. Just loved seeing someone you just didn't expect to suddenly turn it on and go on such a great run. And she continued it, didn't she? She even bageling Kenin twice in one match after the tournament as well. You just thought, when's this run going to end? Eventually, it did end. She couldn't just keep playing forever and keep winning.
Like, she was playing. She went to one tournament. Was it after the US Open? She was back in. Was it Rome? Literally, like about 3 days later, she was in Rome on a different surface and winning matches yet again. So credit. I think she bageled, didn't she, Kenin? I think there
twice
in Rome. Yeah, so unbelievable, really, Azarenka. What a season she had.
At Cincinnati, didn't she? She like got all the way to the final, was going to meet Osaka there, didn't meet her there, but then met her in the US Open final.
And it's just amazing to see Azarenka back to her best, in my opinion. We've not obviously been out of the game for a bit. She's come back and it's phenomenal. And I know there's a lady who wasn't mentioned or wasn't nominated, but I just want to give her a bit of recognition now, and that's Pironkova.
Yeah,
she's a mother. She had a child last year. She's been out of the game for like 3 years, I believe.
Yep.
She's come back, and the performances she put in this year was nothing short of amazing, to be honest. She had a really good, US Open run.
Yep.
And so I just want to give her a mention because she's been, for me, what a player who deserves some praise for what she's done. And she's been really exciting to watch as well.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, mate. I think that she has to have a mention. Just that run that she went on, we just didn't think it would, we hoped it would never end at the US Open. She obviously just came up short. I believe it was against Serena Williams in the end, wasn't it? So sad, but no one expected her to get that far. So I think incredible to come back after 3 years and just come straight into a US Open and just play at that level was just incredible. So big shout out to Pironkova.
Great, mate. Well, let's just see what people are saying in the comments.
Yeah,
so in the comments, sorry, we've just got Thomas Rock here saying Kenin. A lot of people are saying Kenin should win. I think Milan's saying she's better than all of the other nominees. Mary as well saying it should be Kenin. So yeah, fair enough. Andy's not a big fan of Kenin, to be fair.
Milan. Milan saying she's a mother. Yeah, she is. Yeah, Azarenka and Pironkova, both mothers. There was a tournament of the mothers, wasn't it, at the US Open this year? They were all doing very well. But the person we haven't spoken about really much yet, Naomi Osaka. Don't forget, she had an incredible tournament, and it was just what we wanted to see.
Oh, we did speak about her in the final. We spoke about her just now in the final.
Yeah. I mean,
you want to give her more, didn't you?
Yeah, give her a little bit more because she obviously did a lot of campaigning this year. We've had a lot of controversy this year. She's been very vocal. She got announced as the highest paid female athlete in the world this year, and she's using her voice for good. So she's coming out and she's speaking out against all of the racial atrocities across the world. And fair play to her. She's using her platform, and she won the US Open, and she did it in style. And I think
there's nothing better for the highest paid women's athlete to be the one who's making the stand and really promoting the Black Lives Matter movement. And she's done a really good job of it. She's brought a lot of eyes on the sport. And for that alone, you'd expect her to do very well, really, in this award.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I mean, she's just one of those players, isn't she? She's just one of those players that you just think, I just hope that she just continues that form, because we know that she has that sort of up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And just like we'll win one set 6-3, lose the next 6-love, win the next one like 6-love. Come on, consistency. That's all we want. I know it's women's tennis, but she's the person that can do it. We saw it at the US Open. Just do it. You can do it. You've got the ability. So, yeah, she's going to obviously she's probably got a few more Grand Slams in her for sure. So shall we?
Ben finds the button. I'll just read out what Andy says.
Sure.
I don't like Kenin, but she's clearly player of the year. So anyway, let's see. Without further ado, Ben, who is the women's player of the year for 2020?
Sofia Kenin.
Hey, give her a clap. And as Wildlife says, I appreciate the off-court work for obviously talking about Naomi Osaka, but that shouldn't factor into this award. And we didn't factor that in.
No.
We did a little bit. However, the main winner was Sofia Kenin, and that's all tennis related. She was phenomenal this year, consistently across the surfaces. There's a few dodgy results in there, but that does happen when you're young. Ultimately, won a Grand Slam and come very close in another one. So fair play to Kenin. She does deserve to win.
Very close to 2 Grand Slams. Imagine that, getting your first one and then nearly getting a second. But Swiatek, she was going to be there's a too big a mountain to climb. I think she was playing
anyway. And that tournament, obviously, Swiatek didn't drop a set the whole tournament.
It was unplayable. And then you saw Kenin gave it her best shot, but wasn't good enough.
Didn't drop many games either. So
I know, really tough to play against somebody who's playing in that style. But
everyone's quite happy we picked Kenin though. So obviously that's
really
the award.
okay.
Wildlife's happy, Lamb's happy, Milan's happy, and Mary's happy. So yeah, perfect. Couldn't have done any better with that one. So I agree though. She was the player of the year. So Kenin rightfully wins the GTL Women's Player of the Year. So now on to the men's. Who is the men's ATP winner of the year? So Ben, do you want to play the nominations?
The nominees are
Player of the Year, Novak Djokovic, Andrei Rublev, Rafael Nadal, Daniil Medvedev, Dominic Thiem,
wow. What a list of players that was. I get excited just watching back at some of those highlights from 2020, to be honest, mate. What incredible 5 players we've got there on the list, and all so warranted at their place on the list too. Obviously, kicking it off at the beginning of the year, we had Novak Djokovic. He took the Australian Open title in a closely run affair to Dominic Thiem, who was looking to get his first Grand Slam of his career, but wasn't to be at that point in time. And then Djokovic topped up his Masters account with a couple of Masters later in the year, obviously in Cincinnati and in Rome. But so good year for Novak Djokovic, wasn't it?
Yeah, and like Lamb says, this is very tough. There's a lot of choices. It's very difficult to see what angle you want to take on this one. Yeah. Novak had a phenomenal year. Obviously, ended world number 1. Won the second most titles in the year. Won the most matches, tied with Rublev. Won obviously a Grand Slam as well.
That's the final of the French.
There's a lot of bad things as well. What happened this year for Novak, and you've got to consider that in terms of the whole Adria Tour stuff. Granted, it's an exhibition match, but the whole way you are the lead of the ATP Council, allowing that to go ahead, it's not a good look. The whole thing in the US Open, then. So this is tennis related. At the end of the day, he's been disqualified for an event. Can you have the Player of the Year being someone who's been disqualified? It's very poor for me. It's not a good look for the sport. It's not a good look for him. Obviously, he's regretted it. I don't think he meant it like in an aggressive way. It can happen to a lot of players, but whoever it does happen to, you've got to condemn them for it. It's not good enough. Aside from that, a lot of the tennis was pretty good. towards the end of the year after he got the world number one. He still looked a bit lackluster, especially against Sonego. I thought he could have done a lot better. I know Sonego was playing well, but just didn't look up for it at all. So yeah, that's my summary really on Novak.
Yeah, I touch on a bit on Novak. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. There's a lot of good, but there is a lot of negative as well. It's been a bit of a mixed bag this year for him. Can't deny he did have an incredible unbeaten run this year. It's just been a bit of a bizarre year. I think if he hadn't have had all of the off-court stuff or even the default, it might have looked a bit better for him. And the Sonego thing, maybe a bit of a better showing at the ATP Tour finals. But I don't know, all in all, good year for Novak Djokovic. Was it his best year? No. But we hold him in this much regard now. He can win every Grand Slam. So, yeah, and his final at the French Open, he got to the final, but then in the final wasn't at the races, really. Rafa Nadal blew him out of the water. But that's just
before that French Open, he probably would have been on to win it, to be fair for me. But we'll see. He might still win it, but that's just my opinion. But moving on to someone else.
Andrei Rublev. Oh, yeah, go on.
I was going to talk about Medvedev quickly. So Medvedev started the year not too great. End of the year, he won a Paris Masters. He then won the ATP Nitto thing. You've got to consider him amazing.
Yeah.
He ended really well. But a bit like Djokovic, he had a spell in the beginning of the season. Wasn't really good enough from his standards. Expect a little bit better from him. Yep. Also, the clay court form for someone that good. Come on, win a match at Roland Garros, for God's sake. Come on, he's a lot better there.
Shocking, isn't it? Somebody this high in the world and they can't win on clay. I mean, he's going to have to surely improve that at some point in his career. You can't go throughout your whole career just going out in the first round in Roland Garros. Like, if you want to be considered one of the greatest of all time, hopefully he does want to be. But needless to say, finished the year great. Can't take that away from him. Had an amazing showing in Paris and an amazing showing at the ATP Tour finals where he looked unstoppable. So he hopefully continues it on the way to Australia. So hoping to see that. Next person on the list we should speak about, Rafael Nadal. Not been all guns blazing this year, really, has it? But the French Open title's there.
The French Open title was amazing. He played out of his skin. Aside from that, you could say not quite as. It's been okay. It's been great, but the standards we hold for Rafael Nadal could have done a lot better in Rome. The other tournaments as well. For me, it's a bit disappointing he didn't go to the US Open. I know everything was going on. I don't really buy that. I don't buy the reasoning he gave about the whole safety thing. He was just prioritizing the French Open, to be honest.
Look how it worked for him.
It did work. I don't know. I don't like. I want to see someone play every match. To be fair, I just like that. I think if Roger Federer was fit, he would have played. Personally,
yeah. Well, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I mean, that's just why I look at that. Obviously, Rafa Nadal had a great season. I thought in the Nitto ATP finals, he was really good as well and super impressive. So I give him a lot of credit there. And then
wasn't bad.
Sorry, Ben.
I was going to say, it was considering that he wasn't that great in Paris, was he? He sort of ground out a few results, but then went out. But then he pulled it together in that ATP finals. But move on to obviously Dominic Thiem.
The team train. Crazy,
What a
very,
great year.
very good year. Obviously, start at the beginning of the year. Australian Open, got to the final. We then go to the US Open. He managed to win it. Won his first ever Grand Slam final.
Yep.
You look at the other big event, what happened. So what's the other one? You got the French Open. A bit disappointed in that, but not really. Schwartzman was on fire, took him to 5 sets. That's the other big event. And then the final big event was the Nitto ATP finals. And he ended up getting to the final of that as well.
Again.
And losing to a crazy good Medvedev. So Dominic Thiem has had a phenomenal year. Out of all the players, probably the most consistent in terms of he's done it throughout the whole year. And he's not had any spells off. He had a bit of a spell at Cincinnati when he went out first round to Krajinovic. But that's a Masters 1000. If you look at the Grand Slams and the Nitto ATP finals, he was the most consistent player out of the top ones.
A blister against Rublev, and then he lost to him there in Vienna. But other than that, his whole year's been pretty solid, really, to be honest. I mean, you can forgive him the loss to Schwartzman in that 5 sets, I think, because he'd just come off US Open win, really. He hadn't had any break. He hadn't had any time to recover, and he still managed to get all that way through that tournament. The 5 sets with Gaston, beat Rude in straight sets.
It's amazing. Dominic Thiem's had a great year. And something to remember, obviously, out of the 3 Grand Slam winners, he's the only one who's the first person, like the newcomer, to win a Grand Slam.
Yeah, well, this is what I mean. But for me, like for the way that I'm sort of judging this year, I like the fact that he has showed out of everybody, like there's been something clicked this year. And that's like something that I'm really excited about. The other players, granted, we know that Djokovic wins Grand Slams all the time. We know that Nadal wins Grand Slam. But something this year's clicked for Dominic Thiem. The Australian Open final, yeah, fair enough. He came very close, and it was so close, he just couldn't get it over the line. Yeah. US Open, he got it over the line but you've seen his tennis after that, with the way he beat Rafael Nadal and then the Nitto ATP final, fantastic. I mean, and his performances in that Nitto ATP finals, well, yeah, they were astonishing. I thought he played some amazing stuff. I think he is one of the most exciting players on tour for sure. I love watching him play.
Yeah. Obviously beating Djokovic as well, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
In the Nitto.
Yeah, in the semis. So, well, without further ado, I guess.
Big award. So let's see who is the GTL champion from the ATP side for 2020 as the Player of the Year.
Dominic Thiem.
So yeah, considering everything we said, give him a clap. And the 2 players it was between for me was Novak Djokovic, Dominic Thiem. Yep. I thought it was really, really close. Wasn't much between them for me, separated in this award. Very fine margins. I know a lot of people are saying Djokovic, but you've got to consider it. You can't. I know Milan, they're saying you don't consider his off-court antics, but the US Open, that's very much an on-court antic for me. It happened during a Grand Slam tournament. Not that played a massive impact in it. I just generally think Dominic Thiem's been phenomenal this year, and he really does deserve some praise.
Yeah, I think, I sung his praises enough beforehand. I think I was so close. It was literally a hair's breadth between Novak and Dominic Thiem. Like, there was part of me that thought the 2 Masters with the Grand Slam, and I'm thinking, is that going to push me over the edge? But no, I think the actual standard of tennis that's been played this year that I've been most excited about and been most blown away by has been Dominic Thiem. And I think the way that he has played and the attacking style of tennis that he plays is just a breath of fresh air. I love watching it, and I just can't wait to see if he can continue with the new confidence he has on court.
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. Perfectly worded, to be fair. So Dominic Thiem is our champion. So we've had some really good awards tonight, to be fair. Some good winners.
Indeed.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say, I've really appreciated everybody who has joined us. We've got a lot of the usual people, and thanks for persevering and waiting all this time for the next podcast, because I know that we've been taking a little bit of time off after all of the craziness of the end of the season, just to try and prepare for this episode. And we've got a few more episodes that are going to be coming up in the coming weeks, because we've spoken to a few players. We've got a few player interviews, as JG referred to, that we're going to be releasing coming up.
Yes, stay tuned to the channel. But before we end this one, we've got actually one award left.
Yeah.
This is a special one for you guys. Unfortunately, we couldn't work on too much graphics and cool things. Like, we'll have to do that for 2021 if you're still with us. But this award is for the biggest GTL fan of the year. Yeah. So obviously, we've had a lot of really cool fans, especially helping with all the super chats, just liking the video really and commenting on our stuff, engaging with us in the live chat. We just want to say a big thank you to everyone. Really, it's been amazing. Yeah. We wouldn't be able to do this really without you. So I massively appreciate that.
Yeah, I know. I totally agree. Absolutely. We couldn't do it without all of you guys. You guys have sort of just been there throughout all of this year. I mean, it's been a tough year. We've all been stuck at home. It's just been crazy. It's been the Corona times, but we've all got through it together, I think. And we're going to be here after that, and we're going to be bringing you even more better content next year as well. So yes, stay tuned for next year. We thank you for this year. But yeah, JG, should we get to our fan of the year?
I don't know. Did you prepare anything for this or not?
Just did a quick graphic of our fan of the year. I don't know how it's going to share when I share it, but I'll just press share and hopefully it comes up on the screen in some sort of way. So,
give a little rundown. I don't know if you want to give like a little briefing before we announce the winner.
Yeah.
So it's been really tough for us. So we didn't want to base it just on like how much who's tipped the most.
Yeah.
But then we did take that into consideration as well. We wanted it to be someone who is regularly joining us on all the live streams. So there's a lot of you guys who that could be. Yep. Someone who is sort of just always engaging with us, providing us with just good laughs throughout the season, really, a good entertainment factor. There's a lot of factors. Well, me and Ben, we sat down, we did think hardly about it. And it was very difficult, to be fair, because we come up with about 6 names, really, who are very, very close. I'm sure probably most of you know the names. It was always you guys here. Sure. We don't want to go through all the ones who didn't make it, because then we feel bad and if we miss anyone out. So I don't know if we want to do it, Ben. Are we just going to announce just the winner?
Yeah, I think we should just announce the winner. We've got a lot of the regulars who are in, and we love all of you, to be fair. So thanks all you guys for all of your contributions and just all of you, just all the fun you bring to the channel, because without you guys, it's not as much fun for us. So yeah, we really appreciate it, and hopefully the community is going to keep building next year, and we'll see who's going to be fan of the year next year as well. It's going to be good fun.
Do you want to do a little thing for it, Ben? You might as well do your voiceover for it and then play it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm doing the voice. I haven't got a drum roll, so you'll have to give me a drum roll, I think.
I'll do it. Can you hear that?
Yeah, I can hear that.
Not very good, is it? I can't do it because it's shaking my laptop.
Fan of the year. And it is Thomas Rocks.
Shout out to Thomas Rocks. And you know the one factor which tipped this over the line, and the reason why he won
it. Isn't it Rock as well?
Yeah, it's Thomas Rock, but we call him Thomas Rock.
Yeah, we do. Anyway.
So, the one factor what sort of tipped it over the line was the fact that he has a Game to Love themed tennis racket. So if you guys don't know, he's actually got a new tennis racket in the theme of Game to Love. And
love that.
You can't have the fan of the year not have that, honestly. So thanks
shocked.
to Thomas Rock. Obviously, a lot of super chats as well. Just a massive thank you to you, really, mate. Honestly, I appreciate everything you've done for the channel and all the support you've given us.
So much.
And you're certainly, for us, the worthy champion of it. So everyone, with your congratulations to Thomas Rock. There was obviously so many other guys there. You can see them all in the chat now. You've got Lamb, Wild Live there. Obviously Andy as well. 12 Travel 21.
Just everybody.
Everyone. That's just the ones I can think. Mary Sky, of course. Melez, he's not here tonight, but Melez is another one I know. Thomas Rock kept saying nominate. Melez is right up there. We do love Melez.
Melez,
this year, we are going for Thomas Rock.
Yeah, so I mean, like JG was saying, it's so hard we don't even like having to pick between everybody because you've all just been so fantastic this year. And we do actually love having everybody on there in the chat every time. And you guys make the live chats. You guys make the live watch-alongs worth doing for us. And we just have a great laugh. Like, I mean, you must see it. Like, we've been doing it. I've been doing it in the back of my car for a couple of weeks during this thing. And you guys have just embraced it. And I think that's why Thomas Rock, not Rocks, has been the one who's sort of just made us giggle quite a lot. He's been sending us a few private messages and just sharing a few funny bits with us as well. Got to appreciate it. So one more time. Thanks, Thomas Rock. There you go. I've done it properly for you, mate.
I thought you did that on purpose.
No, but I did on purpose. But as it says Thomas Rock in the chat, there you go. You got Thomas Rock for you now. So
yeah, well done, mate. Honestly, World Live, they're saying, isn't Thomas Rock a Nadal fan? Or I demand a recount.
Yeah.
A bit like Trump there.
Well, I think he was supporting Djokovic on this one, hoping for the win. So don't know about that. I know Ken Lee, he'll probably be mad that Rafael Nadal's not won that one. But what can we say? Appreciate all you guys. This has been a very long one, but it's been a very exciting one. Sorry, there's been a few cock-ups, obviously. It wouldn't be GTL without a few, to be honest. So don't worry, next year I'll have my ATP differentiated from my WTA, and I won't stay up until 4 a.m. the last 2 nights doing the thing. I'll do it a week before and then have it actually prepared. But
yeah, so like Ben said, thanks everyone for tuning in tonight. Thanks for tuning in for the whole season. Stay tuned for all the other podcasts we will be doing shortly. It's been a long one. I've enjoyed it. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you've not already, please give us a like on the video. If you're new to the channel, you just found us, hit the subscribe button. We're going to be doing loads of videos in 2021. Yes. And also we've got a lot of players coming in the upcoming weeks. A lot of player videos, coming on the upcoming weeks. So stay tuned for that too.
And Wild Live. Well, Wild Live just wants one last word from Tyson Fury. And all he has to say is, I think it was a very, very great first GTL Awards. And you're all a bunch of big dossers. See you on the next one.
Peace.